So I try to explain to people the real reason they hate Tulsi Gabbard is because of her stance in the Syrian war and because of her anti-regime change stance. They're making her look like the villain on SNL despite her being the most reasonable. It's not because she believes in universal health care. It's not because she supported Bernie Sanders. It's because of her stance on the regime change war. She's went right on these platforms and told them to their face where their money was going, into the hands of terrorist organizations. And she tried to pass a bill with Rand Paul called the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. That's why they hated her. And a lot of people don't realize, when did the media like Trump? I think only twice or three times. When he struck Syria. That was like, you had MSNBC and all these like left-wing news being like, wow, you know, I can't
Trump
remember the
is
exact words, but
presidential.
he's being so presidential. It's like, you don't agree with anything he does except for bombing Syria. So there's a real influence in the press. Obviously, there's policies and stuff they want, but their
And
huge
and
obsession is really this foreign war.
by the way, let me tell your followers something very important, and they can go back on YouTube and they can see everything that I am telling them. The first time Donald Trump came out and said he's going to pull all the troops from Syria, do you know what happened? The politicians and mainstream media came out and they started criticizing him. And then Trump came out and said, no, we are going to pull out all the troops from the Middle East. We don't give a fuck anymore. What happened after 4 days exactly? You can check it out. The dates are after 4 days exactly. They staged a chemical attack in Damascus countryside in an area called Douma. They did that to force the American troops to stay in Syria because Trump was going to pull out the troops a couple of days after. So they staged a chemical in Damascus countryside in an area called Douma. That, then the mainstream media and the politicians started, you know, like cornering Trump and telling them, how can you pull out the troops when children are dying? And look at what Assad did, the chemical weapons and all of this stuff. And a day after that, America, France, and UK striked Damascus. So when you look at all the events that happened, it's very clear that they staged this because ISIS and Al-Qaeda that were in Damascus countryside, they were paranoid. They were like, oh my God, America's leaving us. America is going to leave us. We felt powerful because America was by our side. So now Trump is saying that he's going to leave us. If the American troops pull out, then the Syrian army would come and liberate the area in a couple of weeks. So they were like, we have to do something. So the mainstream media backed them up. They staged a chemical attack in Douma. They filmed it. They put a couple of pictures of children crying so that they can, you know, manipulate the emotions of the American people. And that's how they forced the American troops to stay in Syria.
Did you see any news? Sorry, you're cutting off a little. Did you see any news in America report what you said? Because I know a lot of people were skeptical of the chemical attacks. I think like Rand Paul, like I don't know exactly who, I can't remember at the time. But did you see any American media report what you said or no?
I mean, look, let us use our common sense, you know, because I know the mainstream media doesn't use their common sense, okay? So think about it. Trump said he's going to pull out the troops from Syria this week. So the Syrian government will be like, oh my God, America's finally leaving. You know what is the best idea for us to do? Let us hit Damascus countryside with chemical weapons. I mean, think of it. Is it logical for the Syrian government to do it?
That's what everybody was saying, like a lot of the anti-war
Exactly.
people, where it's
But
like,
think about it.
yeah, if
Put
Syria is
yourself.
really attacking people, of course we want to save them. But when America's about to leave, even if they did want to hurt their people, they would probably wait a few months, you know, where it's like, why would they do it right when America was leaving? We all figured that out. Who did you see that said that and reported that? I'm just curious, like, do you guys keep an eye on American media at all? Or?
Yeah, of course, everyone, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, ABC, all of them came out and said that the Syrian government used chemical weapons in Damascus countryside. All of them.
Did anybody like online or even like Tucker? I don't remember at the time, but like, did anybody?
Tucker Carlson came out and said the opposite. He was like, so is it logical that the Syrian government would use chemical weapons on its people after Trump said he's going to pull out troops? It just doesn't make sense. It's a blatant lie. But the problem is that they know how unfortunately, a lot of American citizens, they really follow the mainstream media and they believe whatever they say, you understand? Unfortunately. But now people are waking up, especially, you know, after Trump became president, a lot of people started losing trust with the mainstream media. You know, he was the one that made the phrase, fake news popular, you know? People started because people started noticing, oh my God, these people are actually lying to us. They're actually lying for more wars and for us to send our children to fight in wars that have nothing to do with America and that have nothing to do with America's national security. Like what? How is Syria a threat to America? Why is America in the Middle East? It doesn't make sense, you understand? But this is how they are lying to the people, unfortunately.
So